All right, let's see what's next. I'm gonna need a sip of coffee. Hey everyone, it's Natalie, also known as Knitty Natty. Welcome to episode 107 of the Love in Stitches podcast. Today is Tuesday, June 8th, I think, 2021. It is an incredibly hot day here in New York City. I've just turned off our air conditioning because it's literally right here and super loud. And we have windows all around our apartment, so it gets super, super hot really, really fast. So I'm going to endure without the hair for as long as I can. But if you start to see like a sheen on my forehead, that is why. I'm still drinking coffee. I'm on cup number 2. I have coffee this morning. Yeah, it's been a good day so far. I really like being able to podcast in the morning. I think I said that last week. I'm better in the morning. Like I'm more with it. Towards the end of the day, I start to lose my words. So here you go. You got me with the energy and everything. Although I'm already starting to sweat. I just turned the air off. Oh my gosh, it's so hot. Anyway, what's going on around here this morning? I've got my brother here visiting. So you might hear some different noises in the background that you normally don't hear, because when it's just me and Kent, Kent's super respectful of like being a little quieter and stuff. But like, I can't really ask like everyone to do that for multiple times a week. So you might hear some background noise, and that's just how it is. Anyway, what's going on this week? Okay, let's talk about finished objects. I have finished 2 more mini yarn cozies. I know I just finished this one because I just finished this one this morning. It is such a dark purple that it's hardly even coming across as purple on the screen. This is the mini yarn cozy. You can see I haven't woven in the ends. And inside, I haven't even detached the ball of yarn yet. But this is one of my patterns, mini yarn cozy. This is for a 20-gram cake. So if you're making something like socks with a contrasting heel-toe cuff, you can wind your cake, your 20-gram mini, put it in here, and it will hold on to it till almost the very end. And then I just finished this blue one earlier this week. My goal has been to make 1 a week. I haven't taken them out of the bag today, but I have a bunch. So far, I have this rainbow mini pack from Sun Valley Fibers. And so I've been working on them since last summer. And I've just recently been like, all right, Natalie, 1 per week, let's get them done. It's been my 30 minutes of knitting in the morning, like when I sit in bed, read my book and everything. And I managed to get 2 done in this week. I only have 1 more left. This kind of like wine color. It is called Cheeky. So I'm going to be working on this one this week, and then they will all be done. And of course I need to weave in the ends on those. And then that's it. The rainbow mini yarn cozy project will finally be complete. It will feel so good to have that done, honestly, because that's just been one of my lingering whips for a long time. And I want it crossed off, done. I don't want the yarn around anymore. I want it out, out, out. I've just been really into finishing things and getting things checked off the list and not having too much around. Yeah, so that's my finished object for this week. That makes it like 6 podcasts in a row. Yes, either like a half finished object or a partial. So yeah, next week I should have another finished yarn cozy and probably not anything else. My other projects aren't that close, but let's take a look at them anyway, because I have worked on just about everything this week. Actually, when I was preparing the podcast, I was like, oh, I forgot to work on one of my projects. Whoopsie. But that's okay. That happens in real life. Also, when you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 active whips, that will happen, right? Okay, so first up, one of my sweaters that I am working on is the summer sorrel sweater. It's kind of getting tucked up there. It doesn't look like I did anything, but I have been working on it little by little. So this is a pattern by Wool and Pine. There's several different versions of this sorrel sweater that includes those beautiful textured stitches at the top. So the body of this is all pearls, and I've been asked a couple times, is it all, like, do you have to purl it or is it knit? And you knit the body, which is super nice. So I am actually knitting, and I just have it flipped inside out so that like I'm always looking, like the purl side is facing outward, but I'm knitting. So I've got my marker there on the inside. So I did quite a bit. since the last week. Actually, now that I look at it, I almost wonder if I forgot to move my marker. So why don't we just move that now? No, I think that was right, because I think last week I had just gotten back from going to Beacon, and I had knit the transition, the fade, and the car. So yeah, that might be right. Whew. Oh my gosh, it's so hot in here. I might have to do these in like little bursts. But I am making good progress. I'm looking at my markers. Again, they're all on the knit side, on the inside. And so I'm looking, I know I have to do 6 increases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh wow, I'm getting really close. So I am adding in some increases for A-line shaping because I have a smaller bust than I do hips. So I'm doing just some gradual shaping down the body that I've added in with some increases. And I know I have to do 6 of those. So it looks like I've done 5 so far. Let me check again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have to do my 6th one and then knit another couple of inches, and then I'll have ribbing and I will be done with the body. Of course, I have to go back and do the sleeves. So yeah, this is probably going to be a push project for me. I'm probably going to be really focusing on this one because it's the closest to being finished. Let me tell you about this yarn. It is Yarn Over New York. And by the way, I have my projects linked down below on Ravelry. So if you're a Ravelry user, you can always head there and check out all the details on these projects in case I miss anything. The current color I'm working on is called Bubblegum Dance. That's the purple color. The light one at the top is called Loyal. These are all from the same company. And then the pink is called I'm a Barbie Girl. So I'm done using Loyal. Such a pretty color. I have a ton of this left over. I'm gonna have to do something with that because, well, maybe. We'll see. Sometimes I just like wind up my yarn into minis and like save it for my Scrappy projects, or that's what I forgot. I worked on a Scrappy project this week. I'll have to grab that. Yay, I have another whip. Anyway, I save it for my Scrappy project sometimes, just depending on how much yarn is left. To be honest, I don't find myself like going back and using a yarn for a totally separate project. That's just not my personality, at least right now. And so better for me to go ahead and divide it up into scraps, and then I can like share it with friends or whatever, you know. It just makes it a little bit easier on me. But the pink, I did use a lot of pink. So I will need some of this to finish off the sleeves because they got transitioned into pink before I separated. Oh, and by the way, these things, Clover circular stitch holders, they're the best. I love them so much. They're great for sleeves. They make like really long ones for body portions and then shorter ones for sleeves, and they're so great. They've stayed, you know, attached the whole time I've been knitting on this, and they're flexible, but they're also going to be really easy to put back on the needles when I pick that up and finish it off. So yeah, that's going to probably be my push project for this week, to try to get as much of that as I can done. No promises on how much I will actually get done. And then I have another sweater that I'm working on. So I really want to cast on another sweater. I talked about this last week. It is the long summer cardigan by Joji Locatelli. And I'm not going to allow myself to do that until I finish one of these. Yeah, so I need to get going. But my rocket tee, my rocket tee, let me show it to you first before I just start talking about it. It gets a little tangled. Here we go. This is the rocket tee by Tanis Lavelli, who's Tanis Fiber Arts. It is a V-neck t-shirt. I am striping mine like she did with a fingering weight and a mohair. My fingering weight is a single ply. I'll show you those yarns in a second. And I've made a couple changes. I've taken out the yarn overs in the raglan increases and just done like regular increases. I've also taken them out of the side. I don't have them there. And I am adding A-line shaping like I am for my sorrel sweater, although I haven't done quite as much. Like you can see, I've only done a little bit past the armhole, but I have knit that much since last week from my donut. That's pretty good. I'm only putting my progress keepers here. I'm going to go ahead and move it down. I'm only putting my progress keepers in the single ply yarn, the fingering weight yarn. So, well, yeah, just because I don't want to pull on the mohair. So we're just going to put it there. So it will look like I've done a little more than I have when I show it next week, but that's fine. Yeah, I was working on this last night. I realized I hadn't touched it in a few days, and so I was like, oh, I'm going to be sitting down for a couple hours watching The Bachelorette on Monday nights. Let me pull this out and work on it. And I think I did part of this stripe and all of the mohair stripe. We also ended up watching something else too, because it does take me a while to get around. What else about this pattern? Oh, the yarn. So this yarn is from Wandering Flock, the mohair and the single ply. The mohair is called Teal. I always get mohair like fuzzes everywhere when I talk about this. The mohair is called Teal and the single ply is called Birthday Ice Cream. Because of the light today, it being so sunny, this color is really showing up nicely. I should get a picture of this today. It's looking so pretty. I'm very excited about it. I know a lot of people that are making this right now in my membership, and a lot of them have finished it. So now I'm like even more encouraged to work on this. But since sorrel's closer, I might be working on that one just a little bit more. So I've got these two in my 2 skein float tote. Oh, and I have this one in my float tote too. I have noticed that the float tote pattern, this is one of my patterns for like color work or multi-skein project knitting. This has been one of the most popular ones in the past couple months. So people are really loving that pattern. So if you are somebody who crochets and you want to make yourself some project bags, you might enjoy the float tote. It just has space for you to put your cakes of yarn, or in this case, I have a ball of yarn in there. It's just a really nice little project bag, pretty quick to make. You just put your project in on top, roll it up, and you got handles. So I often use these for like all of my projects. I don't particularly use like as many project bags anymore, except for like socks, because then I kind of stuff them down in my purse and stuff and use them. All right, let's see what's next. I'm gonna need a sip of coffee. I can't forget to get that, what's it called? My Scrappy project. Forgot that I had worked on that. Okay, 2 more before the Scrappy project. Okay, so this is the project that I realized I don't think I worked on. No, that's not true. Okay, I guess the past week, wait, when did I last record? I think I recorded last Wednesday. Okay, never mind. Maybe I did show you guys this. Who knows? Who knows? Okay. This is the String of Hearts pattern. It's a sock pattern by Maddie Hobbs. And I maybe did or did not work on it since the last week. But I have started on my cables. Oh, I remember I did work on it because I talked about how I never sat down and like worked on cabling without a cable needle. So I said, forget it. I'm just going to use the cable needle. It's still fast. It's still fine. I need to pull these back out. I was having so much fun working on these. I love it. I know for me, like, I'm more likely to work on my plain socks, my vanilla socks, because I can just take them with me anywhere. Whereas pattern socks are more of like a sit-at-home knitting. Since I'm working on my sweaters right now, I forgot about these, so I need to pull these back out and work on them, or they're going to become one of those forever projects. It's not because they're not fun, but yeah, I haven't worked on these this week. Let me show you the other one. I think it's in the same place. Yes. You can see barely that heart cable starting to form. I'm excited to do more cables so I can really see what it's going to look like. Okay, so that needs to be worked on before next week. There's another goal. Work on my sorrel, work on these, don't ignore them. And I have one new project this week, and it's in a new bag. Okay, so last week I went to, I still have the price tag on it, hold on. I went to Yarnia, which is a shop in New Jersey. It's about hour by public transit, but only like 20 minutes by car. So I walked to Penn Station from my apartment, took the train from Penn Station to New Jersey, and went to Yarnia. Actually, I got off at the wrong stop because I thought the door by my train or by my seat was closed, but turns out I was probably just looking at the wrong door. Anyway, that was the whole story. If you're following me on Instagram, I was like live updating, like on my way. Oh, got off at the wrong stop. Oh, now I'm getting a coffee, and it was just silly. I have a good time. But anyway, I went to Yarnia and I went to their in-person knit night, which was so much fun. They just started it back last week, so you have to sign up because it's a limited number of people, and they have, you know, requirements to keep people safe and everything. But it was so much fun just to get to knit in person with people again. It was incredible. So I had to do a little shopping, and I got this adorable bag. It is a tiny tote bag by Black Pearl Designs. No, Black Pearl Magic. Black Pearl Magic. Here's our tag. Let me see if I can get zoomed in on it. Black Pearl Magic. The cutest name. I love that. Anyway, the bags are amazing. So this is her like smallest one. I just think it's so cute that it's a little tiny tote. It has a waxed canvas bottom. I love this print, and it has drawstrings, and it closes up like really nicely all the way. So it is so well made. This is the smallest one, and there were lots of like other sizes. There was I think like a medium size, and then a much larger one that would be good for sweaters and shawls. Can't hang on to it, hold on. So this one I think is just perfect for a one skein project like socks. So I started a new pair of socks. I've only started the one, so I've got like my needles for the next one in there. And inside I have put side by side my two 50-gram balls. I've got them in my 50-gram yarn cozy. So here's what the cozies look like, the little ones that I'm making. This is the 50-gram size. And these are the little 20-gram ones. And then I have a 100-gram one as well. But anyway, for socks, I like to split my yarn in half. So here's the 50-gram size, and they fit perfectly side by side in this bag and just rest on the bottom. So I thought that was so cute. Anyway, go check out Black Pearl Magic. I'll link her shop. She's out of Baltimore, Maryland. So yeah, so Yarnia carried those, and I grabbed myself one because it was just so cute. Okay, let's talk about the socks. So I started a new pair of socks. I needed something to start for like summer sock camp / June / just a plain pair of vanilla socks. And so I got this yarn, Stitch Together Studio last weekend, in Beacon, New York. It is called Irresistible, or Irresistible, however you want to say it. And it's such a pretty color. I've just done the cuff, and I have just started the first round of stockinette stitch. I'm going to be making these for my mom because I think she'll like them. She's a huge purple fan, but she usually just wants plain solid purple. So I'm hoping I can get her to branch out a little bit, and by making her some blue, purple, green, pink socks. So hopefully she'll like them. I like making socks for my mom and my mother-in-law because their feet are around the same size as mine. I do them a little bit differently than my own socks, but they don't take very long because we almost have the same size. Our feet are about a size 8. My mom's is a little smaller. So it's nice to do that. So I'm already starting on a Christmas present, or at least trying to, for my mom. And, you know, I'll start to build up more for the rest of my family here later. Okay, let me go grab that Scrappy project, and I will be right back. Okay, so one more whip for this week. I pulled out my Scrappy Granny Stripe blanket. So this is a pattern that is not written for fingering weight, which is what I'm using for it. It's a crochet project, but written for DK. I think it is called Granny Stripes by Lucy of Attic 24. Hold on, I dropped the ball of yarn that I am using. But a few years ago, a bunch of people started to adapt the pattern for fingering weight and scraps. The first person I saw to do this, I believe, was the Yarn Hoarder, and I used her project page to kind of help me gauge mine. But what I ended up doing, I should show it to you first, just in case you haven't seen it. And you're like, what is it? Okay, here it is. So this is a Scrappy Granny Stripe blanket. Mine is getting quite long, but I've been working on it for years. So it is like similar to a granny square in that you have those clusters of 3 double crochets, but it's in stripes instead of in a square. And so the way that I figured out how big to make mine is I made a swatch of, and I practiced the pattern from Lucy of Attic 24, and I practiced, you know, what hook I wanted to use and found out that I wanted to use a D hook. All the notes again are on my Ravelry project page with how many I chained. I also did my chain with a larger hook. I did it with an E and then switched over to a D so that I don't have like that bowing out at the bottom of my blanket. And so that worked out really, really great. But anyway, you can do this. You can kind of follow along with the notes I have in my project page, or if you see somebody else making a scrappy granny stripe, or you can make your own swatch, measure, and then figure out how many to chain. So I have been pulling this out the past 2 Sundays to work on, and I don't do very much when I work on it because I only do it for like an hour, and it takes me an hour-ish to do like 2 stripes, or to a stripe, back and forth 2 rows. So I don't get much done, but I have my cute little Luna Progress Keeper from Simply Serving on here, and I've done a couple of stripes in the past couple weeks. So yeah, I just use leftovers from different projects that I've made. I have them all balled up and organized. That's what I did. Last week I got all organized, and then this week I was able to just grab a new ball and start working on it. And then I just keep the blanket all folded up with the yarn on the inside and put away. So I probably won't show that every week just because it's not going to get a lot of progress, but maybe I'll show it like on my Instagram every week so we can kind of see it grow. But I'd like to, you know, get back to doing Scrappy Sunday with the Crazy Sock Lady and work on my blanket at least Sunday mornings. All day Sunday is too much for me, but at least Sunday mornings I can pull it out and work on it. All right, I think that's all my projects. So let's move into some questions. All right, where did I put my questions? If you have any questions for me, feel free to go to Ravelry and go to the Love and Stitches Ravelry group. I seem to have exited it, so I'm going back into it. And you can put your question in the Ask Me thread. That's the best way for me to find it, to answer it here on the podcast. But if you're not a Ravelry user, no big deal. You can send your questions to me at natalie@knittynatty.com. That's my email address. If you leave a question here in the YouTube comments, there's a really good chance that I'm not going to see it. So try to use either Ravelry or email, and I will do my best to answer your question. All right, we've got a few questions to answer this week, so let's get right to it. Okay, our first question is from Chris Faith. Let me find your question. Okay. Here it is. Hi, my name is Chrissy. I've been knitting for about 10 years now, and I want to try to make socks. The smallest needles for in the round I have are a US 4. Would those work, or should I invest in some smaller ones? Thanks in advance. Okay, Chrissy, I am so excited for you. Your journey to knit socks is about to begin. That's super exciting. Okay, so here is the answer. Basically, yes, you can use kind of whatever needles you have and yarn you have to make socks, but traditionally to make a sock with sock yarn, you're going to need a smaller than 4. So this is like fingering weight sock yarn. Most people will need either like a 0, a 1, a 2, or something in between to knit with sock yarn. A really good place to start is a 2. That seems to work for most people. I'm a looser knitter and I use like a smaller fingering weight, 75-25, so I use a US 1. But most people start out with a size 2 and some sock yarn, and that's how they work on socks. But if all you have at home is a size 4, then you might want to use some thicker yarn and look for a sock pattern that is like a DK weight or a sport weight, depending on what you have. I am curious about your needles in the round, like what you have, because for socks, you don't use traditional in the round needles. So what I mean by that is you're not going to use like a 16-inch needle, something easier to find at like a craft store. That's not going to work for a sock because it's too small around. So you're going to need either double pointed needles or a long circular needle like I have here. I should not have put that away. A long circular needle. This is a 32-inch needle, but you fold it in half basically to do something called magic loop so that your tube your sock tube is really small. You can also use 9-inch circular needles, but those would have to be purchased at a yarn store. I don't think they carry those at craft stores or online somewhere. But yeah, so basically it's up to you. If you don't have yarn to match your size 4 needles, then I would say go ahead and, if you can, get some sock needles, maybe size 2, get some sock yarn, and I would get started that way if you feel like you're ready for it. There are so many great tutorials out there for socks. I have a few tutorials of my own where I show magic loop. I've got toe up and cuff down. My friend Kay, the crazy sock lady, has a ton of sock tutorials. Those are the 2 I can think of off the top of my head, but there's so many great tutorials out there. So go out, take a class, look at the tutorials, and get started on your sock adventure. I promise it's not as scary as it looks. All right, next question. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to say thank you. There's a lot of you that are coming into the thread and helping me answer these questions, replying to people, because sometimes I'll come across questions and I'm like, I don't know the answer to that one. And I asked for help, and you guys have come in and helped. And so I really appreciate that, especially helping out with sock yarn that is not wool. I see several people were answering that question, and just some other stuff. So I really appreciate it. Okay, next question from Emily Presley. Hi, Natalie. I seem to remember on a podcast long ago when you showed a little sheep that you could use to wind up the tail of your yarn so it wouldn't get in your way when you're knitting. Now that I've gotten more into knitting, I realize that I need some of those. Can you link the Etsy shop that sells them? I've tried searching on Etsy, but to be honest, I don't even know what the little sheep thing is called, and I have yielded some pretty weird Etsy searches. Thank you. Oh, that is so fun. I need to put myself a note to link the sheep. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I have them right here. Okay, so these are called end minders, okay? So, or end keepers. So these are little plastic, these are in the shape of sheep, little plastic tools where you can take the tail of your yarn, wrap it around, tuck it into that little space right there, and it will keep your tail out of your way. You've probably experienced this before where you pick up your tail and knit with it, or it gets tangled in your yarn, and you can cut your tail like shorter, but you never want to cut it too short. So this is a really good thing to use. So these ones are like the larger size, and don't worry, I am going to tell you the shop. It is Crafty Flutterby Creations, and I'll make sure to link it too, but there's the logo. There's smaller ones. I think she's got different shapes, like that are not just sheep. But yeah, I might as well put a small one here on my sock project right now because the tail honestly does keep getting in my way. I'm not very good at doing this. You kind of just like hold it up and start like wrapping it around the little sheep body, and then wrap, 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 wrap. It actually looks like super cute too. And then tuck it in. And honestly, I think I've done this like backwards. Like you should have started at the tail. But anyway, it looks like that. And then it just hangs and your tail is all wound up. It's an end minder, and now it's out of the way. My sheep is hanging upside down. Maybe you can do a better job than me making your sheep not look like it's hanging off of a cliff, but that's what those are. And I'll link the shop for you below. All right, next question from the Constant Stitch. Hi, Natalie. I hope you're well. I'd like to get confident with color work, but I don't know where to start. Can you recommend any good beginning color work patterns? Thanks for all you do, Liz. Hi, Liz. Thanks for your question. Okay, so I am so excited for you to get started with color work. Color work can be a little bit intimidating because you have to figure out how you can manage 2 yarns at a time. So I did a quick search for a color work hat, because I think a hat's a really good way to start. It's not as big as a sweater, you know, you don't have to worry like if it comes out a little too tight, which is a lot of times what happens when you first start out with color work, because you're pulling things too tight. You kind of have to figure out how to strand things loosely. You know, it's not going to be like devastating because it's a smaller project. So I think a hat's a great place to start. And I found this hat. It is called the Quick Ombre Hat. Yeah, that never works. You know what? Maybe I'll just pull that photo and show it up here. But the Quick Ombre Hat, And it looks like it would be a really great way to practice color work because you're going to practice doing like a longer strand with 3 stitches in between, and then shorter stranding alternating every other stitch, and then longer stranding again. I just think that would be a really great way to start out with color work and practice stranding. It's also a free pattern, worsted weight. Again, it's a hat, so it's not going to be like a forever long project. So that would be my best suggestion for starting out with color work. Best of luck. All right. Next question is from Yarn Egg. Hi, Natalie. I've been knitting a bunch of yarn cozies and I love them. Oh, yay. I was just curious as to if there is any method of picking up a dropped knit front and back. Yes, you can pick up a dropped knit front and back. It is kind of weird to do. I can't, of course, show it to you right now because I don't have this is not where I show tutorials and stuff, but I have put this down as a request for when I get back in tutorials because I think a lot of people could use that. I have okay, I'm gonna share this idea. You guys know how it is sometimes when you share ideas before you fully put out a plan, especially for me, because sometimes things don't actually end up happening. But I kind of have an idea that I think would be fun, showing different, how to pick up different kinds of drop stitches. So how do you pick up a dropped, just a regular drop stitch? How do you pick up a drop stitch and garter? How do you pick up a drop knit front and back, a knit 2 together? So yeah, I think that would be a really fun series. So let me know if you'd be interested in that, and that might be something I can make happen in the future. Okay, I think that's enough questions for today. Really, really good ones, but let's move on to our next segment. Let's talk about news. I'm gonna put this away first. I'm excited today because we have a trainer coming to work with us in Toaster, and she's coming in just a little bit, and it's gonna be good. We've been working with Toaster on his leash reactivity and everything. The other day we finally got him to go to the dog park. He's hanging out with me today, so I'm really excited for that. Anyway, that's what I'm looking at the time, just making sure. We got plenty though. All right, so news. So this week I had a new video come out on Tuesday. It was a yarn store tour with Yarnia in New Jersey. I was just talking about them earlier that I went to their knit night last week. So a month ago, I think, I went and did a tour of the store. I did an interview with everyone there. So the store tour came out on Tuesday. Go check that out. It's super, super great. And then the interview is going to be coming out next week. So that'll be really, really fun. So yeah, Yarnia is a great shop in Montclair, New Jersey. Definitely, if you're nearby, go and visit because it's totally worth it. I love them there. What else? Oh, Worldwide Knit in Public Day is coming up this Saturday, June 12th, and I'm gonna do a live event on Instagram. So make sure if you are awake at 11 a.m. Eastern time, come and join me on Instagram. I'm gonna be live streaming from Central Park, provided that it is not raining. I hope that time works because I was like, okay, if I do 11 a.m., then that will be early enough. Hopefully that people haven't gone to their in-person things yet. So hopefully you have some fun events going on the day, but if you don't, you can join me live in Central Park, and I'll be streaming on Instagram. I'm super excited about that. And then we also have a giveaway. So Victoria Markison is a designer. She has been putting out a bunch of designs as of recently, and we're gonna do a giveaway here on this episode. So if you want to enter to win a pattern from Victoria Markison, just leave a comment down below. Our pattern giveaways are internationally friendly. I'm going to be giving away 2 of her patterns, pattern of your choice, but some of the ones that I really caught my attention, they are her bubble patterns. They're super cute. Let me pull them up so I have the right names. So she's done a whole series of bubble stitch, and she's got bubble pot holders, a bubble baby blanket, a bubble beanie, a bubble headband, and they're super, super cute. Also, I really like the simple braided beanie. I thought that was adorable. So check out Victoria's patterns, and if you want to enter to win one, leave a comment down below, just one comment, and I will be picking out 2 winners before the next week. All right, I think that's all of our announcements. So let's talk about life. So my brother, one of my brothers, I have three, one of my brothers is here visiting us. He's our very first visitor to visit us in New York City. He's been staying with us for a few days now, and we've been having so much fun. So we have gone to the, it's like the Air and Space Museum. There was airplanes, one of the spaceships, Enterprise, I think, and also a submarine. And so we went and did that on Sunday. That was super, super fun. We've been going to tons and tons of restaurants. Follow me at all of this and that. That's my personal Instagram. And I will be posting a lot of the food that we go and eat. We've been having so much fun. Tonight we're going to a omakase sushi place, and I'm really excited. We've been there once before. It's so good. I can't wait to take my brother there. So yeah, we've been doing lots of fun stuff. We went to the Guggenheim, I think that's what it was, art museum yesterday. And I learned that I do not know anything about art at all. But it was really interesting. We went to the Central Park Zoo. We've just been having a blast and so much more to come. So that's been super, super fun. Now, bringing me joy this week, we have finally finished unpacking our apartment, putting everything away. I mean, we've got finer details to work on here. I'm actually going to be doing something really exciting with my desk in a couple weeks, so I'll be posting that on This and That. That channel is going to be getting a resurgence now that our apartment is done and I can finally like film regular videos, cleaning, organizing, stuff like that. I'm going to be giving an apartment tour sometime in the next week too. So if you want to see like, what does it look like outside of this little box here, I will show you. I'll show you what our apartment looks like on my other channel. So that's just been really great. Like I love just like looking around our place and going, it feels so nice and calm and beautiful. So that's been really, really good. All right, guys, I am about to melt into a puddle, so I think I'm gonna turn on the air conditioning and call this good. Lots of knitting this week, hopefully even more next week. I can't wait to get it all done. And if you wanna follow me in between and see what I'm working on, make sure to follow me on Instagram at Knitty Natty. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.